Providence, Rhode Island, in the Minute with Mary studio. Welcome to the Potterverse. It's a podcast dedicated to the book and film universe of Harry Potter. So grab your favorite wands and time turners. Let's step into the night and pursue that flighty temptress adventure. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Mary Larson.
My name's Blake, and this chapter kind of puts Sirius down a notch for me.
Wow, I never thought I would hear those words.
Well, you know, this is one of those things that, like I said last episode, I go back and forth on which character I like better, Snape or Sirius. Snap. This is one of those chapters where I'm like, yeah, it's got to be Snape. Because the ending here, the ending just gets me.
It's okay.
And especially coming after such a beautiful, like, level-headed, great sensibility from Sirius. Even about someone as vile as Umbridge. Then to turn it around with what he says at the end, God.
Yep.
One step forward, two steps back.
Yep.
So, I don't know, just, we're going to talk about it.
We sure are.
We're gonna therapize, and we're gonna see what that looks like.
All right, so we are here in the chapter of Percy and Padfoot, and here's the quote. Dear Snuffles, I hope you're okay. The first week back here's been terrible. I'm really glad it's the weekend. We've got a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, Professor Umbridge. She's nearly as nice as your mum. I'm writing because that thing I wrote to you about last summer happened again last night when I was doing detention with Umbridge. We're all missing our biggest friend. We'll hope he'll be back soon. Please write back quickly. Best, Harry.
Aww.
Harry.
Oh
my goodness. I loved this letter as Harry was able to use all of his cunning, leaning a little into that Slytherin side, you know, his Grifferin, his Slither door, to carefully write a note that he knows will really not be able to be figured out. And Sirius even says that it was brilliantly written.
Yes.
And gets across the points that he needs to. And that boy loves a weekend. TGIS for Harry. So wanted to make sure we had that because it's what happens at the beginning of the chapter. And I just think he did a brilliant job.
Yes. All right. You ready to get into the show, Marvin?
I sure am.
Let's do it.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
All right, as a little mini recap, this is chapter 14 of the Order of the Phoenix, Percy and Padfoot, as I said earlier. In this chapter, Harry mails a letter. He gets to flirt a little bit with Cho. We have some nose bleeding happening on the Quidditch pitch. We get a letter from Percy, pretty much telling his brother, don't follow Dumbledore. And then Sirius pops his head through the fireplace and shows his true colors for the fool that he is.
A little bit.
Once again, he was emotionally stunted with his young adult life being spent in Azkaban.
Oh, man.
Just like a lot of kids nowadays are dealing with a lot of emotional stunting because of the panorama.
Yes.
And, you know, going through really impressionable, important years, looking at people through a screen. I say this as I speak through a screen. But, you know, it does a number on you. So for him not to, I don't know, live that portion of his life in the real world, I think has taken its toll.
And more than I think about it, the whole panorama experience was wild. I don't know why I'm just thinking about this now and I'm saying it now.
It gets to you, right? Like every once in a while you sit here, we're recording this now in 2023. Yes. Every once in a while you sit and you're like, that happened.
Like we went through that.
Like they shut everything down.
Yeah. Like everything in the whole world was just like, we're going to take a little bit of a time
Like
out.
that Will Smith movie,
yeah.
I Am Legend,
just
happened.
No
zombies.
Well, I mean, there was death, but
Lots
no zombies.
of death.
That's what I meant. Sorry, that's what I meant. No
zombie
zombies.
No zombie, whatever kind of dog that was, German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Okay, the German Shepherds did not become zombified. But those shots, real life. And it messed us all up, but it particularly messed up certain individuals in like really important developmental parts of their life.
Yes.
And I think it's important for us to keep this into consideration for Sirius. This would have been his burgeoning young adult, straight out of school, just kind of figuring things out. And
now he's just a grizzled old man.
Bless his heart.
All right. So, yeah, Mary, I think one of the things that really goes overlooked here, and this is especially true of the movie, I think this book does one thing really well, like this chapter, rather, does one thing really well and a lot better than the movie, and one thing a lot worse than the movie.
Okay.
Would you like to take a guess
No,
as to what they are?
I would love to just know.
Okay, so the one thing that's...
This is a big chapter, so...
Yeah, the one thing that's better is Cho.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I think goes overlooked in this chapter. Because there's reason in this chapter to like her, other than just Harry likes her.
Not just to like her, but to root for her.
Yes.
To root for all right, she's got his back.
Yes.
She is standing up for him.
Like blindly. Doesn't know if he's telling the truth. Nothing. Just sticks up for him in front of Filch. And that is what I mean when I say...
And also says to him, that sucks. Umbridge sucks. Like,
yes.
Cedric did die.
Yes.
By Voldemort. Like, I'm here. I believe it.
And it's important, I think, for her character that she does something that makes her worthy of Harry and worthy of us as viewers or readers, right? And I don't mean like she's not worthy of Harry. I just mean in terms of characterization, right? Because by all accounts, she is worthy of Harry, right? And like if Harry likes her, we have to trust the fact that she is worthy of him. But she actually does something to exemplify this in this chapter. Whereas in the film, it's just, Harry likes her because Harry likes her. And that's it. That's the difference.
Well, and I also think it's important here in the book because, remember, this is a spoilerific podcast. She's going to have the Veritas serum.
Right.
And the Inquisitor Squad's going to find all this out. And for a while, we're not going to know what's going on. And in the movies, that's how it's portrayed. Like, Cho let us know. And eventually we find out it's because of the Veritas serum. But, we need to have this, to know that Cho is probably a Ravendor. To stand up and say no. I mean, maybe Puff. Who knows? But she's got some loyalty in here where she knows.
I was going to make a joke.
Stop. I know.
I was going to make a joke.
She's here standing up, letting him know, letting Harry know. I know what happened. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that we're on the side of right, and I've got you back. I've got you back so much that I'm going to stand up to Filch.
Yeah, I like that the book does this for her because it gives her something to be. It gives her something that is part of her outside of Harry's expectation of her or outside of Harry's characterization for her. Mm-hmm. Like, it's more than just, she's cute or, she's fun. Like, no, she's an actual person who made a choice to do a thing that is in support of Harry for a reason. And I think it's overlooked because I will tell you, as much as I love this book and as much as I love this movie, I totally forgot that this happened. I totally forgot that she stood up for him and she helped him out in this scene. Mm-hmm. And my frustration with Cho is like she's just kind of nothing in the film. Like, you know what I mean?
I do.
But the one thing that this chapter doesn't do as well at in this iteration of Order of the Phoenix, as opposed to the film, is the world isn't separated, between good people and Death Eaters. Like, hold on, what's the quote? Yeah, the world isn't split up into good people and Death Eaters. The movie did such a better job with this than this chapter. You
mean making that particular quote impactful?
Yeah.
And that's probably why they chose it to have it that way, because you leave this with that yucky taste in your mouth from Sirius.
Right.
Whereas I agree with you. And this is kind of a theme that has strung throughout the Harry Potter books, that it isn't just black and white. It isn't just good and bad. There's loads of gray area.
Yeah.
And, we're hearing this from the father figures of Harry frequently. We're hearing them from Sirius. We're hearing it from Dumbledore. Lupin himself is half werewolf, you know what I mean?
Right,
And
right.
Moody, isn't he who we think he is half the time? So I like this because for so long as a child growing up, we make the adults in our lives our heroes, whether they be our parents, our grandparents, our teachers, our coaches. And so often we get disappointed in them.
Sure.
Sometimes majorly. Like sometimes there are adults in children's lives who do wretched, horrible things.
Yes.
And then the most of us, though, get disappointed in these adults because they're just humans.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard sometimes. I think our generation, our parents often didn't show that human side of them that much. Like they were meant to be, we can figure this out. And I feel like our generation, we're Zennials, for those of you who don't know. We're in between Gen X and Millennial. We're the elder millennials.
Yes.
It's a micro-gen. Fun little fact, micro-gen. But Blake and I have chosen to be honest with our kids about our feelings, about if we have a bad day, about especially when we make mistakes, especially if we get upset about something and then apologizing for how we may have reacted about it. We've made that choice to still be heroes to our kids, but to be human heroes.
Yeah, a little less mythologized, a little less like, a little bit more accessible. We'll put it that way. Just a tiny bit more accessible to our kids, in a way that hopefully they appreciate.
Yes.
We'll see. But I think, Mary, that this line shows you the power of placement and pacing when it comes to storytelling, right? Because it's the same exact line as it is in the film. Same exact thing. But I think the impact in the film is much greater and much more detailed than it is here. Namely, one, Mary, you said it, because right after this comment, we get, an icky feeling of, your dad would have done this. And it almost nullifies the sentiment that Sirius is trying to have come across. Whereas, Mary, in the film, to me, it comes more towards the beginning of the film, obviously, when Harry and Sirius are talking in front of the tree and it shows...
Platform 9 3/4. What does he say, the guy when he checks the tickets in the first movie?
Oh, what does he say?
It's basically like kids these days.
Yeah. I think you're being funny, do you?
You're being funny, do you? Oh! Yeah, so then when they're at platform 9 3/4.
No.
When Sirius has this conversation, he's dog form Sirius.
Yes.
With Mad Eye Moody, and they're on their way to platform 9 3/4.
Yeah, and
they go off in the extra little room, and he
and not everybody
magically has a coat.
Right, and not everybody is, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think is really important to the rest of the story, where Harry does have to recognize... And not just the rest of Order of the Phoenix, but the rest of the Harry Potter saga, if you will. It's not as simple as black and white, and the world is much larger than what it's been made for you up until this point. And I think that the movie does a much better job at having this hit Harry at the right moment when it needs to, as opposed to the book when it comes. Yes, because of Umbridge, but it really is a sentiment that Sirius tries to impress upon Harry before Umbridge in the film.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
See the difference?
I do, yeah.
So that's the magic of
the
placement.
Impact of it.
Yeah, that's the magic of placement and pacing, right?
Yeah.
Getting your sentiment in the right place at the right time with the right effect. You're pushing and pulling in your dialogue, and it feels like a much more natural, punchy dialogue when it's coming from Sirius in a specific
earlier
way.
portion.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. This is when Hermione continues to start getting the Daily Prophet, and I think it's really important as this is an ongoing thing where Hermione likes to know, you know, what other people are saying, what's going on, and can we just lay a little candle in our hearts for Sturgis Podmore? Sturgis Podmore, who of course got caught being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and we're gonna learn more about him in the future. Good friend of Dumbledore's. When I first read this book. Mm-hmm. We know how old Dumbledore. He's like wicked old. He's ancient, okay?
He's super old.
Super old. And as we hear in this chapter, Sturgis Podmore, he hangs out with Dumbledore. We know he's in the Order of the Phoenix, and he was missing before. I always pictured Sturgis Podmore as being wicked old. Sturgis Podmore, 38, of number 2, Laburnum Gardens. When I read this, 38 was old in my head. Because I just pictured basically like Dumbledore's twin.
Yeah.
Maybe with brown, a little bit more brown hair. I'm 41. Poor wee little Sturgis Podmore. He's now in Azkaban, that little lad.
Oh, got his whole life ahead of him.
Seriously.
Right? At least that's what I'm going to tell myself to make me feel better.
As a teenager, I was just like, oh man, well at least he lived his life.
Yeah, he lived a full life, didn't he? Those whole 38 years.
Oh, good Lord. And now he's in Azkaban. Bless his sweet little heart.
Oh, man. You know, who was the teacher from what's it called? The last book that went missing. Oh, goodness gracious. What the hell was her name? The one we were
teacher?
like, yeah, no, the person that
was it Bertha Jorkins?
Yeah, Bertha Jorkins. Yeah,
who worked at the ministry.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like the Bertha Jorkins.
Sturgis Podmore is totally the Bertha Jorkins of Order of the Phoenix.
Yes, where like his name pops out,
dripped in.
Yeah, every once in a while, you know, he's got the Bertha Jorkins.
But
treatment.
Bertha is dead.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Sure.
Sturgis still gets to live another 38 years. Oh, good Lord. Bertha wishes she was just in Azkaban, not dead.
I know. DED.
Oh, good Lord. The kids learn a bit more about that OWLS, the OWLS.
Yes.
And the grading system. This has ruined grades for our children. You know that, right?
What do you mean?
Oh, my gosh. Our kids come home and they're with their different papers. Mom, it looks like I got a troll. So they understand Harry Potter grading terminology.
Yes.
But not necessarily the actual grades that they get at school, and that's okay. You know, if I was teaching nowadays, I may do it based upon the OWLs.
Sure, why not?
That would just be fun.
Do you find trouble, or are you troubled
with a capital T
by the fact that Hermione does help the boys with their homework?
I don't find trouble with that at all. That's what I did.
Of course you did.
Oh my God, I took all of the percussionists' oboe and bassoon tests for them. The teacher didn't know. So we would have to send recordings of ourselves. So when normal people in college take like chemistry and science, you know,
like real subjects.
Yeah, I took bugs. I took it for my science class. I took bugs.
Bugs.
For one of my reading classes, I took Sherlock Holmes. That was awesome.
That is wild.
But for my main courses, I had to take musical instruments. So I truly had a class where my job was to learn how to play like all the woodwind instruments. And then another semester is all the brass instruments. And you had to be tested on every single instrument. But the teacher didn't have all the time. Well,
to sit there and watch you.
Lots of teachers do. Lots of teachers know. Okay, they know we be cheats.
Yeah.
So they actually watch you. But the woodwind teacher, she didn't have time for that. Okay. So she would just have us record ourselves. And so the percussionists, they're not used to using their mouths on instruments.
Sure.
So they just asked me, so I would like mess up on purpose and sound a little squeaky, but I did their oboe and bassoon test because those are really hard.
Listen, we all know what an oboe is.
Oh.
We all know. Malnourished clarinet.
We move on to Quidditch. Okay? And we've got Ron playing with the Quidditch team and all the situations that's going on there. I just need to state Pansy Parkinson is the worst. She makes fun of Angelina Johnson's hair.
Yeah, that's not a great look.
And like, as if we didn't hate Pansy enough as it is to pretty much like, no, we're not friends, Pansy. We're not friends.
Yeah, and you know that's funny too because in the films, Pansy isn't much either. She just kind of says a couple of words. And
no, I'm glad they didn't like
No, I know, I'm not expecting them to add this because this is like bordering inappropriate. Like, well, you know what I mean? Like, even within film form in this style film, it's probably inappropriate to put something like that. But at least give something that is a little bit more.
I mean, they're making fun of people, based upon their financial ability, because they're making fun of the Weasleys and everything about that. But then now they're also making fun of Angelina Johnson because of the texture of her hair. Yeah. Exactly. So it's just like, what the heck? Not painting the Slytherins at all in a good picture. Like, what are you doing? Like, at least talk about their skills or lack thereof on the Quidditch pitch. But instead, they're saying really rude and inappropriate things. They're just being terrible, terrible bullies. So I forget if Gryffindor beats the heck out of Slytherin in Quidditch in this book, but I sure hope they do after this chapter. I feel like everyone, Ravenclaw, Gryffindors, and Hufflepuffs, after this chapter, is wearing a Gryffindor scarf. They are saying, Luna, can I please borrow your giant lion hat? Because,
oh, my goodness.
Because we need to root for some Gryffindor right now after Pansy and Malfoy and all these other jerks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on board with the trash talk. I like the trash talk. You got to get in your head.
You would like the Malfoy one. Hey, Potter, how's your scar feeling? Sure you don't need to lie down? It must be, what, a whole week since you had to wear in the hospital wing? That's a record for you, isn't it? That's something you would have done.
I would totally say that.
Yeah.
I would totally say that.
Yes, you would.
Listen, you got to take every advantage possible to get into the other player's head.
We would have not dated had we met each other in any form of schooling.
No. I will go so far below the belt to win.
I know.
I don't care.
This is why we don't have game night with friends anymore. We've been ostracized. And I love games.
I will cheat. I will scratch.
Poor
I will
Katie.
Claw.
Poor Katie with her
bite.
bloody nose. Her bloody nose. And the twins are frantically trying to figure out what she could have eaten, what went wrong. Here's my question for you. Was Katie properly compensated by the twins? Was she given this by accident, or did she agree to be a tester? Was there a waiver to be signed?
Either way, whatever she got, she deserves 10% more.
They take her to Madame Pomfrey. Yeah. Why do the twins take her to Madame Pomfrey?
Because they know that they're responsible.
Is that what they're going to say?
No. No chance. Yeah, we'll take you. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah, she got hit in the nose. I don't know what happened. It just won't stop. Oh, that's how they control the narrative.
In my mind, because of course I picture myself marrying George. They stop at the Gryffindor common room and give her the antidote one.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Of course.
Do they come clean with Madame Pomfrey?
No.
Is there HIPAA? Can they say, Madame Pomfrey, if we tell you what happened for real, you promise you will tell McGonagall?
No chance. No chance they're implicating themselves.
Right?
You telling me that they're going to be hey, we gave her this thing.
If there's HIPAA, if there's privacy between them and Madame Pomfrey, and if she looks at them and she says, boys, I've been seeing enough of this. All these sick, bleeding kids with boils, they all have one thing in common.
They all know you.
They all know you. And they're all in Gryffindor. They all have little wrappers sticking out of their back pockets. The common denominator is Weasley.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. A blood blister pod.
Oh, man.
Talk about my worst nightmare.
That sounds like... Yeah, no. Mary would not do well with that.
No, I would not. I love when Hermione's going over the boys' homework.
Yes.
And then, she realizes that Harry wrote that a planet is covered in mice instead of ice.
Yeah.
Harry must be so exhausted.
He must be. I don't know. But listen, I don't blame him for practicing with Ron, and I don't blame him for taking the time to do what they got to do.
Oh, that was a good thing of him.
Yeah,
good
right.
Friend move.
It's
worth it.
There comes a point in time, listener, when you're in college or when you're in whatever in school, and you've done too much. You recognize I got to take a break. My roommate in college, my best friend, was famous for this. Because I'd be stressing about one thing or another. He'd be like, all right, yeah. And he'd be like, all right, come on, let's go. We're going to the batting cages, or, we're going to go, we're going to go to the, we're in New Hampshire. So he's like, oh, we're going to go to the gun club, and just pop off a couple of rounds. And
I would go fly a kite at the beach.
Whatever. But you just get your brain off of this stuff.
Illegal gun range, okay.
It was legal, like it was a whole it was a whole thing.
People in other countries don't know that this is what Americans do,
especially in New Hampshire.
Oh my gosh,
live free or die,
That's
man.
That's literally the state's motto: is live free or die.
That's why it's the best state in the union.
Oh my God, nope. I will gladly stay in the ocean state.
Oh man.
Anyway,
so you're saying there comes a time when you kind of have to blow schoolwork off. You have to, because otherwise it gets to be too much.
You know who would completely disagree with you is Percy Weasley.
I got some.
Percy Weasley.
I got a hot take about Percy.
Disagree. Okay, let's hear it.
I got a hot take. Ready for this take?
Yes, Blake.
Percy's right. He's right. He's 100% right in this letter. His like reasoning is, or at least his
reading this series as an adult.
Yeah, it's a totally different feeling. No, his execution is a little off.
Yes.
I'll give you that.
Yes,
but he's 100% right, especially considering the fact that he knows to be true what is true, right?
What does he know to be true?
Umbridge is in power.
Yep.
What? What?
You're such a Malfoy.
Umbridge is in power.
Okay.
The tide is turning on Dumbledore. The Ministry is taking charge. Mm-hmm. The things are coming out in the newspaper about Sturgis Podmore. Mm-hmm. Listen, everybody's on the way out. Trust me, I'm trying to take care of you. Just do the right thing here. Play ball.
Prefect to prefect.
Yeah. And he's trying to relate to his brother. I saw that you're a prefect. I'm really proud of you. Here's an idea. Stay away from Potter, because that kid is just trouble with a capital T.
Oh, you don't even know what you're quoting, and it makes me so happy.
Whatever. I don't even care.
It's the Music Man musical, Blake.
Sure. Whatever.
76 trombones?
Sure. How about 82?
Oh, my God. So much educating to do.
So I'm kind of on board with Percy on this letter. How about you?
Okay. I feel for Percy. As we talked about earlier, when he moved out, I feel for Percy so incredibly much. Mm-hmm. Once again, your parents aren't necessarily perfect heroes, okay? They're not perfect heroes. And I think that the Weasleys may have tried to come off that way to Percy. I don't see Arthur or Molly being like, it's okay, we're human. I feel like they would just try to do their best, and maybe they've got a million kids. Percy's smack dab in the middle with Ron, which is another thing that he has in common with Ron, often overshadowed and, doesn't have all this stuff. And so, well, maybe not smack dab in the middle, but, somewhere in there, because there's a lot of kids.
There's a lot of them in there.
So I appreciate that he has now found fiscal stability for himself.
Yeah.
He is getting recognized when probably he was just overlooked, even though he was a prefect and head boy. It just wasn't necessarily always enough because there's so many kids in the Weasley family. And he is just being fed through these channels of the government and the news. And he's doing the best he can. And what sucks is that he doesn't have a friend. He doesn't seem to have a friend to kind of balance him out. He only has his mom and his dad who are saying, oh, no, Weasley, stick with crazy Dumbledore.
Yeah.
But, not Weasley, but Percy. But he doesn't have a friend. Where's Clearwater? Where's his girlfriend?
Oh, Penelope.
Where's Penelope? Where's Penelope right now? Did they break up?
She's in Colorado somewhere.
You know what? She probably.
She went on the.
She probably went as a foreign exchange student. She went to Majorca.
got
a Muggle boyfriend.
No, what was the...
broke his heart. This is why Percy's probably upset. Penelope Clearwater just broke up with him for a Muggle in Majorca.
What was the book that you read? The one with the movie with Reese Witherspoon. She goes on the trail.
Wild? Isn't that?
Yeah, the Wild or whatever. Yeah, she's on the Wild Trail.
She is, but in Majorca.
In Majorca.
And this is why he doesn't have someone to kind of balance him out. And he's trying to find a buddy. And he thinks his buddy's going to be Ron.
Yeah, and this is when... you find yourself drinking a lot of the Kool-Aid.
It's so hard because when you read this the first time through, you're just Team Harry nonstop, which let's be real, we're always Team Harry.
Well, yeah, the whole book's in his perspective. How can you not be?
But it's so hard because when you grow up, and maybe it's not even just if you grew up, nowadays, where people honestly think that the world is flat. There is like a great large portion of the world who thinks the planet is flat.
Yeah, it's wild.
Even though there's science up the wazoo, proof up the wazoo.
It was proven back in ancient Greece that the world is round. And people are still like, yeah, nah, we're good.
But because they have found each other, thank you, Internet, because they have kind of banded together, they are now like stuck in the fact that they're right.
Yes.
And this is how it is, in the political region, and particularly here in the U.S. Gosh, oh my gosh, you think about it, like everything that's going on in the world, whether it was the panorama or anything, like people, when they find each other who have the same beliefs, whether it's Potter and Dumbledore are telling the truth or Potter and Dumbledore are loonies, they now feel so much stronger.
They feel validated.
And unified and completely right. And so I feel for Percy because he doesn't have Penelope because she went on her Muggle exchange thing. And he's not going to leave his mom and dad.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know who the only person might be?
Who?
Is Ron.
Well, what do you mean?
I feel like Ron would be the only. He's now reached out to Ron.
Well, yeah.
Ron could be his lifeline. And just know, Percy comes back at the Battle of Hogwarts, okay?
Yes.
Just know. He comes back.
And, Marvin, it's kind of... Because you want to hate Percy so much.
And many people do, especially in this book, understandably to a point. Because I gave you a high five when you were like, here's my hot take. You know what I mean? Because I'm applauding you for being bold in this. As we as the reader, through the lens that we're reading through with Harry's eyes, are not supposed to be okay with Percy. He's saying, like, ditch Potter. So as the reader, we're not supposed to be happy at this point.
I mean, he does take it a little too far in regards to Harry, meaning like, oh, maybe he'll get violent. And even Harry's like, I love when he says, where was the... Well, he said, trying to sound as though he found the whole thing as a joke. If you want me to, what is it? He checks Percy's letter. Oh, yeah, sever ties with me. I swear I won't get violent.
Well, think about it. They do not believe that Voldemort's back, meaning they don't know why Cedric Diggory died. So all they know is that Harry Potter came back with Cedric Diggory's body.
Yes. So, yeah, again, is he doing the wrong thing? Maybe. But maybe not. Like, again, he's just going off of what he knows. Hold on, our dog is freaking out right now, and I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah, I see what it was. See, what we do when we record is we open up our window here, our slider door, so that our dog can just come happily in and out of the studio. And she gets pissed when the door
it's closed too quiet.
Yeah, she gets pissed.
She's like, I would like to come in and visit you every 3rd minute, please.
I have to check to make sure you're still here, even though I hear your voices.
It's tough. I mean, he takes a lot of digs at his parents. He takes a lot of digs at Dumbledore, and this just goes to show you, friendly listener, to not just surround yourself with people who think the same exact thing as you.
Sure. Yeah. You don't always want yes men.
Yes.
Or yes women.
And this can be so tough when you live in a certain area, or maybe you're in a certain environment, whether that's the school that you're at, the place that you live, and like you grow up thinking, or you're in this place where everyone thinks the same thing.
Yes.
And it's hard to find opposition. And I challenge you, to find people who think differently than you, but who are still respectful enough to have conversations that are of different opinions of yours. I have friends of mine who have completely different political opinions as mine, and yet we can have kind, friendly conversations that we disagree with each other with. But if you handle it from a place of, we are friends and I'm trying to learn more, I'm trying to understand your perspective more, you may also in the end help educate them. But when you just come at it right away with, you are blatantly wrong, and down put people, they're going to put up their shields right away.
Right, exactly.
And that's what's tough with this letter from Percy.
Yeah, and I kind of want to piggyback on what you said, Mary, because I think this is an important lesson, especially for those listeners that are a little bit younger who are entering the world that we're living in right now. And it's important to remember that everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a right to that opinion and how they express that opinion. And we don't normally get into politics at all in Mary and Blake Media. Like, it's just not what we do. But this is something that what I'm about to say is undeniable. And that is the basis upon which the American government was founded. Having opposing ideas and meeting in the middle. Like, that was the whole idea. Figure out a way to make things happen. And
hasn't been working.
It hasn't been working as of late. We'll go with that. But you know what? Mary's right. Always come to a place of curiosity, right? And you're right, Mary. I think it's very specific in this letter, because that place of curiosity has to exist when you want to consider Percy's efforts to reach out over the aisle to Ron and say, you have a chance here.
You could be head boy if you're cool with Umbridge. Things are changing.
And he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. And what's tough too
is he ultimately ends up being wrong, but he at this point in time,
at this point in time,
backing
the power,
his horse.
Yes. What's just so interesting is that even if he did, say Percy did have the wherewithal, which we know he doesn't at this point, but say he had the wherewithal of like, oh, there's two sides to every story.
Yes.
He also couldn't write that in this letter, because this could be intercepted by the ministry. You know, things are being checked. Umbridge is there. They're kind of combing through everything with a fine-tooth comb. So he has no room for doubt.
And it's something that you say, Mary, that just caught my attention too. This letter could be checked, and he knows that Umbridge is there. And that kind of circles back to the beginning of the chapter with Cho, when Filch shows up and's like, hey, I heard you're getting dung bombs. That to me is red flags everywhere.
Yes. Right?
Because, and this, again, it's one of those things that kind of goes underplayed because it's overshadowed by this letter from Percy and the interaction with Sirius. Where is Filch getting that information? You know, when you're reading this, it's easy to be like, oh, well, it could be Malfoy, like saying this just to play with Potter. But to me, it's Umbridge. To me, it's Umbridge who's saying, go check this out, especially after the detention, especially after all the things, we need to keep an eye on Potter.
Well, this was Mrs. Norris. This is why Filch is up there right now. Harry passes Mrs. Norris on his way to the Owlery.
But I feel like, but the dung bombs, like, he ain't going to get that from a cat.
No.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
True. I don't know. There's just a lot of sneakiness going on, and I'm saying that even if Percy did have an inkling of, hey, maybe I should ask Ron what's going on, I don't think he could have safely written that in a letter. But honestly, at this point, I think Percy is kind of one-sided right now, which...
Yeah, he's drinking the Kool-Aid.
He is. And for that, dumb Percy, and you can appreciate the parent Weasley's frustrations, but I think it's also apropos for his age, wanting to get ahead in life and potentially stand in a different position than his parents. But he's just in the wrong.
Yes.
You're wrong, Percy. You picked the wrong side.
Yeah, you backed the wrong horse.
But he comes back and he gets it.
Like
he totally gets it. I
totally agree.
And then, of course, we've got... I liked this bit right here where... It was now past midnight and the common room was deserted but for the three of them and Crookshanks. The only sound was that of Hermione's quill, scratching out sentences here and there on the essays, and the ruffle of pages as she checked various facts on the reference book strewn across the table. Harry was exhausted, and I like this part. He also felt an odd, sick, empty feeling in his stomach that had nothing to do with tiredness and everything to do with the letter, now curling blackly in the heart of the fire. Oh, they've been sitting there for hours and it is still eating at him.
Yeah.
That letter. And it's
Why do you think it eats at him so much?
This is a guy that he went to the World Cup with and they were attacked by Death Eaters.
Yeah.
He slept in his house. He was pumped to meet him. Like, this was like someone who he kind of looked up to a little bit, you know, when he first met him and he was a prefect and head boy and all this kind of stuff. Like, this is a Weasley. You know me, man. You know that I don't lie. You know that what are we doing? What do you mean that I'm dangerous? Your sister has a crush on me, for Pete's sake. Like, come on. You know, so a family that has been with Harry, his dad took him to the trial. Like, granted, Percy broke up with his family before them. But, you know, I just think that just to know that you can't trust anybody and to feel so alone.
And does that tie into the we talked about tying into the beginning, but does that also not tie in, but lead up to the ending of this chapter, right? Because let's look at where the chapter begins and where the chapter ends. Harry is resolute in the idea of writing a letter to Sirius, explaining what's been going on. He didn't trust Dumbledore with the information. He didn't trust Professor McGonagall with the information, yet he trusts Sirius with it, which, by the way, he should, because Sirius is his godfather. And, as we know, given the line that Sirius does eventually say, not all people are divided up into good people or Death Eaters, there's room in between, like, that is sage advice. Yet, at the end of the chapter, we are left with, well, your dad would have taken the risk.
Oh, such a jerk.
And
move.
I don't think he means it the way that it comes off. However, is there room there to say that Harry's trust in Sirius is now a little, there's a little left to be desired there? Because there's great movement, there's great attack and defend in that transaction, right? There's great movement in the tension of going from, I'm going to tell Sirius this really important thing, to kind of being insulted a little bit.
Well, and also he's insulted because Harry's trying to look out for Sirius.
Right.
This is Sirius pouting, saying, I want to come out and play. And Harry's saying, no, it is not safe. Harry has to be the adult in this situation and say, this isn't safe. Yeah, I may sound like Molly. You know, Hermione, he already told Hermione she sounds like Molly. Yeah, I might sound like her too, but the truth of the matter is it is dangerous. A kid died last year.
Yeah.
You've been hunted. You're going to be thrown back in Azkaban if they ever find you again. And they know you're here. Lucius Malfoy and Draco Malfoy know something's up, so it's not safe. It's not safe. And then you put Harry down.
Mm-hmm.
When you know that, like, what stinks is that, like, Harry does go to Sirius. Out of all the people in this world, he goes to Sirius because he's concerned. And we have to remember, this is a 15-year-old boy who is just looking for someone to have his back, for someone to make him feel better. And instead, Harry, the 15-year-old boy, now has to act as the adult to this grown man, and then gets put down by this grown man in a way that hurts.
Well, is it, as we're talking about it, I'm thinking about the aspect of insult or put down.
Up until this point, Harry really loves his dad, thinks the world of his dad. We haven't gotten anything to James Potter being a bully yet.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm gearing towards here, right? Like we're using these phrases, put down or insulted, because we know the story of it, right? But if you're looking at it from Harry's perspective, as of this moment, as he's speaking with Sirius, it's almost a little bit more conniving and a little less insulting at the same time, right? And I mean that by Sirius takes this affection that he knows Harry has for his dad, and also the affection that he knows Harry has for him, and weaponizes that legacy of Harry's dad. Weaponizes it. So that's why I say it's a
move, Sirius.
That's why I say it's a little bit more conniving than we're thinking, but it's also not as insulting as we're thinking.
You know, I've reread this chapter many a times. It's got a lot going on. It's a nice meaty chapter, and every time I get to this line, I feel this burn inside of me that I am surprised Harry didn't do. Okay. And if this was said to Ron, I think Ron would have responded this way. So, you be serious. Okay. You're less like your father.
You're less like your father.
Okay. Oh, you don't have actually.
I don't have it. I don't have the book. Sorry.
Okay.
Let me read it.
It's over here. Mid of that page.
Yep. Okay. There was a pause in the series which looked at blah, blah, blah. You're less like your father than I thought, he said finally, a definite coolness in his voice. The risk would have been what made it fun for James.
Yeah, and my dad's dead. How did that work for him? Every time I've listened to this, read this, I'm like, Harry! Where is my Harry who gives it back to Snape? That's what it would have been like. Yeah, how'd that end up for my dad?
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
He's dead.
Well,
I'm less like my dad because I'm alive.
But the other thing too is that Harry does have this relationship with Sirius where he's looking to him as a father figure, whereas Snape it's an adversary. And the ironic thing is that this is not the kind of conversation a kid and a responsible guardian would be having together. This is
peer-to-peer.
This is peer-to-peer. This is Sirius mistaking Harry for James. And even then, let's just say, for the sake of argument, Sirius did turn around and say, "Oh, yeah, you know what? Probably shouldn't have said that." He doesn't even have that recognition.
No, he leaves. He hangs up the phone.
There's a coolness to his voice, and that says, "Yeah, creature's coming. I gotta go." Like we've all had those conversations where it's been like, yeah, I'm at the place. I gotta go. I'll see you later. And you're like, you're 20 minutes away. Yeah, I'm busy. I got things to do.
You just find a reason to hang up the phone.
And that's exactly what happened. And this is where the author, I think, continues to show her ability in writing characters that aren't wholly good and aren't wholly bad, except for a few. Right, like where there's certain wholly bad character. I mean, Voldemort being prime 1A example of just pure evil, right? But I mean, the people that move the story, there are more than just good people and Death Eaters, right? Like I remember when we were talking about The Last Kingdom, Uhtred is kind of a character that kind of does good for the sake of doing good, but sometimes he gets messed up and makes the wrong decisions because he thinks he's doing good. So like there's room for characters that are wholly good but make mistakes. And I think that Sirius might be one of those characters. What do you think?
Yeah.
Like I think Sirius is a wholly good person. But makes mistakes and
I don't think he's wholly good.
Why don't you think he's wholly good?
The way he treats Snape and the way that he speaks to Harry, and I think he's a bit of a brat. I think that he's an emotionally stunted, spoiled child who lived in an environment where he always had to be fighting against people, and that influenced... I mean, you think he grew up in the House of Black, the noble House of Black, and was like, I'm going to ride a motorcycle, I'm going to do all the things to make my parents upset, and he got joy out of that. He got joy out of that. So I don't think that he's a wholly good person.
But that doesn't make him bad either. That makes him more immature, right?
Yeah.
And here you go, right? Like, Mary, like the fact that we can even have this conversation about a character that exists primarily in 3 books, but really 2 books. It shows the kind of characterization that the author has employed, for Sirius.
Yes.
Where you can honestly debate this and say, is it bad? Is it good? Or is it immature? Right? Like, that's fantastic. That's when you know you got it right.
I agree.
So that's that. All right. You want to do
email?
Do you want to do a different perspective, or do you want to hold off on that and do voicemail?
Yeah, I'll do a different perspective in a little bit, but I want to hear some other people.
Okay, all right, we'll do. We got a system here. I got to follow the system.
Sorry, was different perspective next?
Different perspective is always first.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter. I'm Hermione Granger, and you are.
I'm Hermione Granger.
Oh, hey, Hermione! Talking to yourself here a little bit in the drop.
It's a little weird, but I'm here for it. I am so here for it.
What's up, Hermione?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Can I just say, humble brag, I am truly the smartest witch of my age.
Why do you think that?
Okay, so I've got my best friends, Ron and Harry.
Is there a little something extra going on with Ron there?
I don't know what you're talking about. But right now, they got poor grades.
Yes.
And I looked around. I looked around at everyone's paper when they weren't looking.
Oh.
I got the highest score.
Yes.
And
Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, sorry. And I got the highest score in potions class, where I know,
Not
because
your
I'm a
strongest.
blood, that I would normally be getting less.
Yes.
It has been so good. I am riding such a high. There are like really bad things going on right now. I don't know. I heard that there was a lot of blood on the Quidditch pitch, and Ron's older brother is being a little twerp or whatever, and Umbridge is wild. But this is my year. This is my time.
It's when you came into your own.
I am. I've got I learned about some hydration products and the curly girl method. So my hair's looking fly.
Have you been watching Netflix the summer I became pretty?
And then I got total credibility last year thanks to my bonbon, Victor Crumb. So, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself right now. And I know that I'm going to do really, really well on my OWLs. I have a lot of stamina. I've got more study time because I'm not an athlete. So all these people who waste their time with Quidditch, I'm spending in the library. My cat is fantastic. Like she hasn't been giving me any worries about people being all sorts of funny. I'm just living life. I'm living life.
Living life and loving it.
My parents are muggles. They have no idea what's going on.
Do you know what I hear? I hear this in the background.
I'm proud of it. Proud of it. And scene.
All right, you ready for some emails and questions? And we have some voicemail. We have a voicemail too.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Miles here.
All right, this one comes from Nina. She says, "Hey, Mary and Blake, your podcast is great. I've binged all of your Potterverse episodes for the last 2 weeks."
Hold up.
That's a lot of freaking
Are
Potterverse.
we speaking while you're sleeping? That's a lot of time.
Wow, Nina, you send us an email. I'm going to send you something from the Mary and Blake store, just because that is wild. Send us an email. Get in touch with us, and we'll arrange something for between you and I. All right, because you got to get rewarded for that kind of loyalty. Holy smokes! I'm glad I've caught up during Order of the Phoenix because, as a big nerd who took way too many AP tests in high school, I really remember enjoying the idea of wizarding standardized tests. Okay, maybe I'm going to take that free gift away because standardized tests sucks. They suck. All right, anyway. No, you email us. We'll take care of you. My question for you two is, how and when did you know you were in your respective houses? I always believed I was a Ravenclaw until I read book 7 and decided there was absolutely no way I was going to play a riddle game every time I wanted to take a nap or do some homework. I told a friend, and their response was, "That's a very Slytherin thing to say." Did you have a moment when you knew I'm a Gryffindor or I am a Slytherin? I love your podcast. Can't wait to hear more. Signed, a proud Slytherin, Nina. P.S. Shout out to my lovely Gryffindor boyfriend.
Oh,
you're so
nice.
cute.
Did you know
Nina.
when you were a Slytherin?
Yeah, as soon as I read the books.
Oh.
Yeah. As soon as I saw Draco, I said, "Yeah, I can get on board with this."
Oh yeah, because you watched the movies.
I watched the movies
remember,
first. Yeah, I could get on board with what Slytherin was all about.
You were like, look at his sharp robes. He's got his slicked hair.
The whole
I like
thing.
it.
I'm all in. And then especially when Jason Isaacs shows up as his dad.
That was it. You're right.
That's my boy.
You geeked out when Lucius Malfoy showed up on scene.
Yes.
Nice.
How about you? When did you realize, Marvin, that you were a proud, through and through, 100% Gryffindor?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard, I think, when you read the book from a Gryffindor's perspective. It's hard not to see things otherwise. But definitely in college, I started to hardcore be Gryffindor.
Okay.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
I did things that were slightly dangerous.
Yeah.
But I was brave about it.
Such a dork. Such a dork. I'm going to be involved in everything.
Oh my gosh. People used to joke that I would find victims of being beat up or whatever, that they would just come and find me and stumble upon me. And I was like,
about
that's
right.
it, man. I can handle it.
Sounds
There's a
about
massive
right.
fight going down.
Mary's
going
to
to
be there.
Mary's there, in on it.
McGonagall would totally be like, "Why is it always
I made the biggest
you?"
drug bust in
Of course
URI
you did.
history.
Of course you
But
did.
I think that's what the police officer said. It's you again.
It's the worst.
It's you again.
It's always you.
It's always me.
All right, the next one comes from Sophia. She says, "Hey, if you could make any spell, what would it be? And also, I love your podcast, and I've been listening for a long time and finally decided to write Thank you so very much. Well, Sophia, Mary, what would be your spell? If you could make a spell, any spell, do anything, what would it be?
Pause everyone else. I would probably just use a time turner to take naps. That's what I would do. I was about to say, like, make my kids actually go to sleep so they can sleep, but I want more than that.
Yeah.
I'm checking my sleep watch app. I am severely lacking. I have a 10 and a half hour sleep debt.
Yeah, oh, guaranteed.
10 and a half hour sleep debt. That's not good.
Have you ever not had a sleep debt?
Yes.
Get out of here.
Yes.
When you first started it?
No. No, I work towards it, Blake. I set goals for myself. I want to have under 4 hours sleep debt, and sometimes I get to 0, and it's really proud of me.
Wow. I wonder what my sleep
do.
debt is. It's got to be through the roof.
We've tried to track yours, remember?
Yeah.
But then you wouldn't actually download the app.
Yeah, well, because we got to pay for it. I don't want to pay for another thing.
It's worth
I don't want this little
app. You don't
app.
even need to. No, it'll do it for free on Apple
I don't
Watch.
want this little app to guilt me into the fact that I ain't sleeping enough.
I got to tell you, my favorite part is it tells me this is when you're going to feel sleepy today. And it's right.
Maybe there might be a placebo effect.
No, I check it after because I'm like, oh my God, am I sick? What's going on with me? And I check it. And I'm like, oh, it's just my sleepy time. So I would just use a time turner or something like that to pause the world so I could nap.
Wow.
What about you, Blake?
I think I would make a spell that just handles all of my errands. Like all the things that I have to do.
I do all your errands.
That's not true.
What errands do you do?
Exactly. No, just all the things that I just don't want to do.
It's called Mary.
Yeah.
Abracadabra, Mary.
All right, on to the next one.
Married people all around are like, yes.
All right, on to the next one. Ever see that reel of the guy that's like, there really is magic.
Yeah.
If I put these socks into this bin,
yes,
they just disappear.
All people like me know exactly what that reel is because we live it.
All right, this one comes from
house elves.
Okay, moving on from this question. Thanks, Sophia.
Where's Spew? Where is Spew?
I'm going to send my therapy bill to you, Sophia. Thank you so much. All right, this one comes from Chloe. She says, Dear Mary and Blake, I've read all the Harry Potter books so many times. Fun fact, they are actually the reason I love reading so much and have every Fantastic Beast, Harry Potter, and all of the other books that have anything to do with the Harry Potter series. It sounds a lot like my bride. Question, how many copies of each of the books do you own? See, Mary just breaks down laughing because she already knows the answer is embarrassing. Question, how many copies? Blah, blah, blah. I love you, Harry Potter podcast so much. I'm pretty far behind where y'all are, but I'm so sorry for all the hard times everyone went through. I'm happy. I hope you've recovered because we're all amazing people and you deserve everything. Thank you so much, Chloe. P.S. Blake is 100% right about the Hufflepuffs in the books. Hufflepuff could definitely be a wonderful house with all those fantastic people. In fact, one of my best friends is a Hufflepuff, but the Hufflepuffs in the book only seem to be there because the author needed some extra characters that she can just kill off. # Cedric. Okay. How many copies?
Okay, get your fingers out. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, I have the original, like, not original, but I have, like, the British version.
Okay, so that's one.
And then I have 1, 2, 3 sets of the hardcovers because it's one set for me and one set for each kid, so I can write little notes in it for them. Then I have the illustrated versions, but I accidentally have 2 of the Sorcerer's Stone illustrated versions, but that's okay, one for each kid. Then I have the pop-up book versions that are coming out. Where are your fingers? You stopped.
I ran out.
Then I have all of the books on Audible. But then I also have CDs. So how many do I have? Oh, wait, and I'm trying to make sure that there is. So there you go.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
That many.
Like I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, we have a shrine to Harry Potter in our bedroom. It's a shrine. It's
not a shrine that
no,
I pray
it's straight
to.
up.
It's just a nice decorative place.
It's bordering the bodyguard level.
No, it's not.
It is.
Well, I will say this: we had some cleaners come in, and they didn't speak a language that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
But all I heard them say is, "Wow, Harry Potter." And I was like, "Oh my goodness gracious!"
Oh,
I
man.
felt so embarrassed that I was grateful at that moment that I didn't know what they were saying. I was grateful. I was like, I don't know.
Luckily, this girl don't know
Between
Portuguese,
my
so
Harry
we're just
Potter
gonna rip on her.
Bedspread and my decorative Harry Potter pillows, and
The
maybe they see my pajamas on the floor that have the Gryffindor emblem.
maybe, of course they do.
And my house robe that is Harry Potter robe.
and then the trunk, all the
trunk.
books,
And my
the
wax,
wand,
my wax melter is
wax
Hedwig.
the cards to platform 9 3/4.
Even my meditation cards, my daily meditation cards are Harry Potter. My notebook next to my head
The quill.
So I have a lot.
I told you, shrine. It's bordering the bodyguard. I'm not saying we're going that far.
It makes me happy.
All right, this one comes from Eric. Hey, Mary and Blake. I'm Eric, and I'm a huge fan of the podcast and a massive fan of Harry Potter. I'm currently working on designing a personal tattoo idea representing my house, which is Hufflepuff.
Nice.
My wand and my So is it just going to be just a picture of your skin?
Okay, come on.
My wand and my Patronus from the Wizarding World, and that got me curious. Do you guys have any Harry Potter tattoos or any nerdy tattoos? Thank you. So, no, we do not have any tattoos. I've tried to convince my bride to get a tattoo of Harry Potter. And you know the one that Eric, you don't know the one. Mary, you know the one that I've tried to convince you to get.
No.
Oh, yes, you do.
No.
It was the one that was supposed to be right here.
What?
It was the one of the Deathly Hallows.
No, I would never get a Deathly Hallows tattoo.
I know.
Oh my God, you're so weird. And for those of you who don't see the video, he's pointing in the center of my chest.
No, not in the sense, but
if I was
just
wearing
like
a V-neck, a low V-neck. That's where.
In between.
Oh my God, you're so gross. You're so gross. Okay, Blake, you do that.
No, it doesn't work for guys like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for
I
guys
tell you what,
like
it doesn't work for girls either. All right, Blake, if you were to get a Harry Potter tattoo, what would you get a tattoo of?
Oh.
And where?
Oh. That's a good question.
I know.
I'm probably going to get ripped on for this, but that's okay.
That's what we're here for.
I would get an always tattoo.
Okay, that's romantic.
And I would probably put it on my forearm, like right here, or like on my arm or something, and have like the Patronus, like something like along those lines.
Yeah. Because
it represents my love for my bride.
Oh.
And it's from my favorite character, right? So
Yeah.
on any given day. So yeah, I'd probably do something along those lines, or I'd probably find something that Sirius said or did or whatever. But that always would probably be my first one. How about you, Marvin? What would you do?
I would get the 3 little stars that are in the corner pages of the Harry Potter books.
Would you get it right here?
These stars right here in the corner pages.
Yeah, could you get it right
no,
here?
and I would get it. No, Blake,
How about
I would
right
not.
here?
I would get it on the inside of my right middle finger, because that's what I use to like write with.
Yeah.
So I would just know that words can be magical and can cause a big impact. So that's where I would do it.
So this is actually, Eric, you've stumbled onto something that I've tried to get Mary and I
I'm
to do.
not doing a tattoo.
No. Hold on. I have tried over the years for Mary and I to go out together and get a tattoo at the same time for many years. I don't care of what, but I wanted to.
Because that doesn't matter when you're putting ink on your body.
Well, you know what I mean.
Life.
Like, we could figure that out. It's just details at that point. It's just the actual act of getting us there.
No,
get
Blake,
tattoo.
I don't like needles. No.
I know. All right, this one comes from Faye. She
Put a
says,
sticker on you.
this is Faye from Norway.
Hello, Faye.
Longtime listener to all of your podcasts. I'm currently doing a rewatch of the Harry Potter films in preparation for watching Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix in concert at the end of October. I had a thought and wanted to hear your opinions.
Soundtracks.
Which of the many detentions Harry had were, in your opinion, the worst and the best. In book 2, Harry had a super boring detention with Lockhart, helping him answer fan mail, but surely that was preferable to his precious detention, where he ended up being nearly attacked by Voldemort in the Forbidden Forest. What do you think? Love what you do, from Faye. Well, listen, Faye, we all know that Gilderoy Lockhart is my third favorite character in all of Harry Potter. I'd love... What? What?
Take off your headphones.
Is there a spider on me?
I'm pretty sure a spider just landed straight on your
Don't
head.
even mess with me.
Take off your... Nope. Okay. I think you're okay. It would have been on your hat or your headphones, but I saw something drop down from the ceiling.
Oh.
You're welcome. So Blake doesn't think Gilderoy Lockhart's bad. Which would have been your least favorite?
I don't even want to wear my hat anymore.
I wouldn't.
I don't even want to wear
That was epic. You might be able to see it in the playback video at some point. Okay. So which one would have been your favorite?
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Oh, sorry. Or was it which one was the worst?
I think the Voldemort one would have been the worst because I would have died.
Yeah.
I definitely would have died.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I would think the first one exactly where he's in the woods with Malfoy. It was. Did you find it?
It was on me. It was on me.
I told you.
You freak. Oh.
And you just flicked it. It's
I don't
still
even know
alive.
where it went. That is the worst. Oh my God. It was crawling on me.
I know, I saw it.
It was on my...
Shh. Butterbear's freaking out. She can sense your fear. At least it's not in your hat anymore. Shh. Shh. She just wants to smell the hat. Blake, she's too loud.
Okay, all right. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. Okay.
Next question.
Take over for me. Hold on.
I can't take over. I don't have the words.
Just
You have to do it.
Vamp for a
Oh
minute.
my goodness gracious.
minute.
Okay.
Oh.
So, is the spider still here? Probably. Will it come back? Probably. Will you see it again? Probably.
That was brutal. Okay, we're coming back. Okay, next one. This one comes from Tom. Says, hey, Mary and Blake, your son did an awesome job on the podcast a few weeks ago.
He sure did.
I hope we hear from him more. I was placed in Ravenclaw on Pottermore because I want to learn all that I can to solve puzzles and mysteries. I strategized before taking action. When someone insults a Gryffindor or Slytherin's parents, the Gryffindor will immediately speak up to defend their parents' honor, and the Slytherin will push back to protect their parents' pride. A Hufflepuff would quietly take the insult and respond with kindness. Not so with Ravenclaws. If you insult a Ravenclaw, we won't respond right away.
Ooh.
We will start playing a long game of how to respond over time. We are capable of elaborate revenge with lasting effects and also giving meaningful blessings to people we like. Personally, I'm not a manipulative person, but I'm very thoughtful about who I like spending my time with.
Okay.
In the case of Luna and Hermione, Luna probably is going to wait and see how Hermione acts the next time they see each other.
Wise.
Luna probably decided that this insult was minor and not worth the trouble of elaborate revenge. Luna has a kind heart and sees the world with a deeper perspective, so Luna could probably foresee that Hermione and the other Gryffindors could become her faithful friends. And at the end of the book, Luna's response to her things being stolen with the belief that everything has a way of coming back to her is not typical of a Ravenclaw. Most Ravenclaws went to get to the bottom of who stole it and why. And it shows us that Luna doesn't concern herself about mundane things. Her mind is very complex, and less thoughtful or inconsiderate characters in the story don't understand her. Thank you for this awesome podcast, Tom from Michigan.
Thank you, Tom.
This one comes from Caitlin. She says, my name is Katie, and me and my sister are newer listeners, currently on Prisoner of Azkaban, chapter The Night Bus.
Hello, Katie.
And while listening to the episode, we had made some observations about a future reference in Book 1 that relates to Book 3. The reason Ron's yellow rat spell didn't work on Scabbers during the Hogwarts Express is because Scabbers was never truly a rat to begin with.
Brilliant.
I wonder if an animagus counts. We're sure if he had been a real rat, the spell could have, probably worked. My sis wanted to know if you might make a t-shirt that says Marge at large with the graphic of her floating.
That's brilliant.
I kind of like that idea. Thank you for this amazing podcast. We love you guys. Keep making more magic happen. You've brought the Lumos in our time of Knox.
Aw, so glad.
This one comes from Crystal. She says, hey, Mary and Blake. I was catching up on the latest episode of the Potterverse and heard you say you need a Ravenclaw opinion, which is why Tom wrote to us. I just so happen to be a Ravenclaw. Here is my opinion, and I hope I can make my fellow Ravenclaws proud. When Luna says, excuse me, my father's the editor, I saw her as being defensive. I think as Ravenclaws, we can be a little bit proud and don't like our intelligence being insulted, which is kind of what Hermione was doing to Luna. I hope this is accurate and helps. I think that's a fair assessment.
Agreed.
Okay. This one comes from Lainey. This is Lainey that was in the 5th grade when she first reached out to us.
Lainey. Oh,
it's Lainey. I'm now in 7th grade.
Lainey!
Sending an email replying to what I would do if I was Luna Lovegood and if Hermione had said what she said about the Quibbler, because I am a Ravenclaw. I would have said, my dad is the editor, and he works very hard. I would like it if you'd not make any more comments on my dad's work. I'll have that back now. And I would continue to reading. reading. So I would kind of do what Luna did.
Yes.
Thanks.
Awesome. I love it.
Lainey.
Love it, Lainey.
Love it, love it, love it. This is awesome. All right, let's get to the voicemail. By the way, if you do want to send us a voicemail, any one of you, you can just go to maryandblake.com, click on the contact button, and there you will see a little drop down that says voicemail. Click on that, and you'll see a button to send us a voicemail right directly to our server. We're not going to answer the phone or nothing. It's just you're going to leave a message. All right, here we go. Let's do it.
Hi, Mary and Blake. My name is Sarah, and I am from Oregon.
Hi, Sarah.
Not Oregon, Blake.
It's okay. It's
I
Oregon
just
Trail.
wanted to say I'm a proud Hufflepuff, and I have 2 questions for you guys.
No wonder why she says Oregon. She's a Hufflepuff.
She's from Oregon.
She doesn't know any better.
Oh, my God.
All right, 2 questions from Sarah. What do we got?
First one is, did you know that there is an entire play written from the point of Hufflepuff?
Yes.
It's called Puffs.
Yes.
And it's playing at our local theater. So my husband...
Wait, how long is it? About a minute?
What? Oh, my God. No, it's actually coming here. Blake.
Wait, did they give you money to go to the play? It's one character. It's JFF. And he's like, hey. And that's it. Because nobody cares.
Come on, you're being rude.
Okay, sorry.
and I are going to go check it out.
I'm so excited.
Cool.
For
My
this.
second question is, if you were in the DA, what is the defensive spell that you would want to learn first?
Ooh.
I think mine would be Expelliarmus, which is obviously one of Harry's favorites. And I think it's just so valuable because it would take the offense away from the person that you're fighting. So I just wanted to tell you guys, I love your podcast. I'm having so much fun, and I'm so bummed that I'm finally caught up. And that's because I can't just binge your guys' show anymore. So I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate
So
that.
I've seen Puffs.
Okay.
I'm like 99% sure that I saw Puffs in New York City.
Did you get your money back?
Stop it. There's also, I believe, one called Potted Potter. Yeah, there's Potted Potter, and that one is coming near us.
Okay.
So there you go.
Wait, when did you see Puffs?
Like years ago when I also saw that like a cappella group thing. I forget what that show was called too. I just saw a lot of different shows, man.
Yeah, apparently you did. All right, so what's the spell that you would learn if you were in the DA?
Maybe like a pause time spell.
So you can go nap?
Yes.
Hold on, I need to take a nap. Thanks.
But for real, I don't know. Bombard us. That feels good, but very messy.
I don't know if this is defensive per se, but this is definitely the charm or spell or whatever I would want to learn. Dude, Reducto. Mm-hmm. That thing is legit. When Ginny unleashes that unholy hell at the
Potted Potter played yesterday.
Did it really?
Yep.
Where?
Foxwoods.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Is it only one night?
I don't know, Blake. I'm looking, okay?
All right, well, we got to go. We got to go. We got to figure this out.
You focus on your spell.
When she unleashes that bad boy in the Department of Ministries and just takes out all of the orbs, that's one of the best, well-shot, unbelievable, cool scenes in all of film. It's just a cool scene, and it's freaking Ginny that just takes it to the moon. So when I saw that, I said, that's a spell for me. Or a charm. I don't even know what the hell it is, but I'm in on it. That's what I would want. All right. That's it for this episode.
Puffs was filmed live, so you can see Puffs.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Oh,
you
wow.
can
Okay.
see it on iTunes or Amazon. You just search Puffs.
Oh, okay. Puffs?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. You ready to close this bad boy out?
I sure am.
All right. Let's do that. That means we're going to have to do Puffs for this podcast then.
Well, if we could find the Puffs, but I think we could find the Puffs.
Yeah, we'll find
I don't know if I
Puffs.
want to do it with you.
What do you mean?
You're just a hater.
Oh, that's the whole idea. That's the fun part.
No, it's not fun for me. 'Cause I'm part Puff.
I don't think you're part Puff. I think you are 100% Gryffindor.
There's some Puff in me.
Nope, that's Slytherin.
Nope.
All right, here we go. All right. Let's close this bad boy out.
Yes, please. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for hanging on out with us as we discussed all things Percy and Padfoot and Puffs.
This episode went way longer than I thought it would.
It was a long chapter as well.
Yes. I was surprised.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we enjoyed having this conversation with you, and I wanted to give you a couple of different tips and tricks. First and foremost, if we bring Lumos in your time of Nox, please feel free to head to jointhenerdclan.com, where you can, for as little as $2 a month, help contribute to this mom and pop podcast shop. Another way that you can help support the show is by going to minutewithmary.com. At the time of us recording this, it is going to be heading into the holiday season. And for those of you who don't know, in addition to podcasting, I love to help people feel more confident and creative when it comes to their makeup and skincare. And I do that at minutewithmary.com. You can also search the hashtag minutewithmary on social media, and you'll find me there.
All right, that's it. That's what I got too. Go.
My name's Mary.
My name is Blake.
Mischief managed.